Hi everyone, I'm Reggie Whitley. Thanks so much for joining me on the Open Vault podcast. Hopefully, you'll hear something that'll inspire you, empower you, enlighten you, or just make your day a little better. Since you're here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and or follow, depending on the platform that you're tuning in on. And feel free to share this podcast onto your social media pages and with your friends and loved ones. First of all, hi, I'm Reggie Whitley, and here we are, Season 1, Episode 8 of the Open Vault Podcast with Reggie Whitley. And so I'm here, you see, I'm not alone if you're watching. If you're not watching, you see in our description, I am not alone, but I'm not going to introduce our two guests. I'm going to let them introduce you. So first, Felicia Thomas, so I'll ask you a question to get this thing started. Who is Felicia Thomas?
Felicia Thomas. I would say that I am a loving, caring, God-fearing person. Some of the roles that I have is that I am a mother of three. I'm a grandmother. I love praise dancing. I love church, everything related to it. And I love helping other people. So I guess that would be who I am: loving, caring, kind, family oriented, and I'll say a queen.
And she never lied. She never lied. Who is Jessica Bolden-Cross?
Hello, everyone. I would describe myself. I am a sinner saved by grace. I have two daughters. I have a 14-year-old and an 8-year-old. I love helping people. I'm not so much family oriented. A lot friend oriented. I've been in some places. God done brought me from some places. Just a sinner saved by grace.
And that's good. She never lied either. So we're here to talk about quite the touchy topic. And so this is more of a serious episode of the podcast. And I think it's one that will help more people than I think any other one has helped. Even if you're not in the even if you're not one of the people who this fits or who maybe this speaks to you on a personal level, I'm pretty sure we all know someone who has been here, and you never know where any of us will end up. And so what this is about is, of course, we're still in September, but next month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so that is what we're here to talk about. Both of these have experiences one way or another, either personal or professional, in domestic violence. And so they have both agreed to be with me today to discuss this. And so I want Jessica to start us off with her story. Of course, she's going to do what she does, how she wants to do it. And we're going to give her that opportunity. So Jessica, if you want to start us off.
Oh, where do I begin? Lord, I need you to increase you and decrease me. Let's start off by saying I am the only child. I grew up with my mother and father. I was disciplined, but never hit, if that makes sense. No physical discipline, mostly mental discipline and, just kind of talking through some things, verbal. So, as we do, I got about 19, and then I started thinking I was grown, because that's kind of how we do. At 18, my mom died of cancer when I was 20. I left home. I found myself in a situation that I was not prepared for, physically, mentally, or emotionally. My oldest daughter now, she's 14 years old. Back in 2005, I think it was, I met her father. and it was like unbelievable. I had never been hit before. I can remember the first time being hit in my mouth, and the only thing I knew to do was to hold my mouth because I've never been hit before. I'm 21 years old and never been in a fight, never been physically touched, you know, no aggression. So it was actually very confusing to me. But I was in a really dark place in my life, being that my mom had just passed. And it was just like the devil had an all-out attack, and I stayed and we battled and we fought. And at first, I didn't know how to fight. Nobody had taught me how to fight. I wasn't an aggressive person. But it got to the point where it was either you're going to fight or you're going to die. I chose to fight out. Me fighting him turned into me fighting everybody around me because it was just like anger. I knew I couldn't fight and win with him. So if I would be out and someone would rub me the wrong way or would say anything, it would just trickle down to violence. At one point I was scared to fight because, like I said, I was spoiled. He would make me like, if you don't fight, if you don't do this, I'm gonna do this to you. Or, if you don't do this to this person, I'm gonna do this to you when we get home. So it was always like, oh, okay, well, but I didn't realize that I had a baby watching my every move. We fought. This went on years and years and years. When my daughter was about 5, because of the violence, she ended up being ward of the state. She ended up with my father. Which, she did that for a few years. And me just being in life, walking around in circles, the devil had danced me over to the left when I knew I was supposed to stand to the right with God. I tell people all the time, don't dance with the devil if you don't know what you're doing. He's going to dance you over there, and you're not going to be able to find your way back over here. I had some people that just didn't leave me. A lot of people, when they're dealing with domestic violence, is not going to tell you. You can't help them. It has to be a personal decision that your mind has been made up that I'm not going to deal with this anymore. Your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, nobody can help you unless you're ready to help yourself. My dad came by one day and I was staying in the house with my daughter's dad. My daughter's dad, mom. So my dad came over one day and I was ashamed to come out the house because my eyes were black. And he needed me to bring the baby outside, so I ended up coming outside. And he said, baby, I ain't gonna say nothing to you. He said, when you tired, you will leave. And I said, Dad, it's not that simple. He said, it will be when you make up your mind. I had so many charges. We would fight everywhere, city, the county. It would just be everywhere we would see each other. It would be an altercation. I would come home. He would be in my apartment. It was just a terrible situation. Something happened during the time that I was able to collaborate the warrants from both the city and the county, and they were able to pick him up, and I ended up getting a restraining order. The restraining order did last for 5 years. He didn't care anything about the restraining order at all. We still fought and had our battles. He would go to jail. I'm not even sure how the fighting ended, but it kind of just, I guess as we grew up and he started doing things differently, and I left. We didn't have any more fights to that nature. Um, I'm gonna tell y'all something so awesome about everything that I just told you guys about that person. I had the honor of watching that person give his life to God. Years and years later down the road, when my daughter was about 10, he got shot. And I would always tell him, someone is going to shoot you in your face because of how aggressive he was. And he would tell me, baby mama, ain't nobody going to kill me. I'm going to die on my own. He got shot. And I went down to the hospital to be with him. And he said, I just want to know how you changed. He said, because I made you like that. How did you change? And I didn't. I said, this is what I did. I said, I surrendered my life over to God. He said, how did you do that? I told him. You guys, he sat in that bed and we prayed together. And he told God, he said, God, I surrender my life to you. You guys, that was one of the most humbling moments of my life, to have the same person that took me through so much be a witness to them giving their life to God. About 6 months later, he had a massive heart attack in his sleep and he died. And it was so settling to me at his funeral, because I was a witness to him actually saying, God, I'm tired and I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to walk this walk without you. So he was the type of person that you would never thought he would have did that. So at his funeral, they were up giving all the stories of how he was and the fights and the violence and the aggression. And God just set it up on my heart to say, hey, go tell him who the new person was. And I was able to do that, and it gives me a great feeling now, knowing that I don't really have to question, because I was there and I saw it. After he got out the hospital, he called me and he was cursing. He was like, beep, 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 beep. What you do to me? And I said, hey, what you mean? I didn't do anything to you. He said, I'm sitting here at the gas station with the gun on the person that shot me, and I can't stop crying. I said, baby daddy, once you come into contact with God himself, you will never be the same. He hung up the phone in my face. He called me the next day. He said, I don't like this. I say, hey. I said, I never told you what came with it. He said, I feel so weak. I said, you're not weak at your weakest moments. God is strong. I said, your strength back then was not your strength from God. I said, that was the devil working with you. I said, when you're strong enough to look in the face of your enemy and humble yourself, you're on a new path. That was the relationship that I built with that, and I got remarried in 2013. Yes, 2013.
To
Never
someone
now
else.
to someone else, correct. I never thought that a person would change. I didn't know about changing people. See, my first daughter's dad he was always like this. We went to high school together. I knew him. He was always the aggressor, the fighter. He was always that. He didn't hide that. That was his persona. When you seen him, you knew it. Not the same with the next person. It was more of a wolf in sheep's clothing. I had dealt with this man for about 7 years before we even decided to have a child or get married. And it just changed. We were living together. We got married. We got us a house. And he was this possessive, domineering type person. Like, he would yell at my oldest daughter, like, do this and do this. And, it was just more, too much structure. You know what I'm saying? It was like a almost unbearing type thing.
Hmm.
So we went through it. We went through it. You know, I've always had a relationship with God. I don't know. I think I forgot to mention, growing up, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I know my God. I know my Bible. You know, and it's always been like that. So I hold myself to a different set of standards than other people may do. You know, God say anything that you promise me, you should hold to that. You know, God say He's not a God to be mocked. So when I stood before God and I took my vows, I took them seriously. You know, He said for better or for worse. And it took me a while to say, hey, I can't do this. I can't do this mentally and I can't do this emotionally. The physical abuse started after the mental the mental abuse. I tell women all the time, no man should call you stupid. You know, no man should call you out your name. No man should belittle you. You want a man that treats you just like with the respect that he treats his mother. You don't want a man calling you or treating you a certain way in front of your kids. You don't want that. That went on for a long time. And so I said, you know, I got to do something different. I moved. He came. He would come. You know, we would talk. I'm not the person that once you do something to me, oh, I don't want to never want to talk to you again. I'm not that type of person. When I go to sleep at night and when I say my prayers, I need my prayers to go up. Yeah, so when I say my prayers at night, I'm not the type of person that holds people because God said in order for you to be forgiven, you have to forgive. And that's a little, I don't know if I kind of take it like, you know, I just kind of, you know, whatever, I just don't hold people trespasses against them, you know. So, you know, we talked and he would come over to my cousin's house and we would talk. Keep in mind, you guys, it's still my husband. We would go to church and it was a problem with the church. Oh, you run into the church all the time. Uh, you know, allegedly relationship with Reggie, alleged relationship with people in the church. It was just so much, you know, but while the devil was doing something, me and Reggie had something going on at the church that God was involved in, you know, and that was the place that I went and got filled because when I get home, it wasn't that. So I would go to the church every day. You know, we were working on the youth program or whatever. So this particular day, our pastor, the bishop at the church, he asked me about have I ever, you know, tapped in with the Holy Spirit and tried to do the speaking in the tongues. And I was like, no. He was like, are you open to it? And I was like, yeah, I'm open to it. You know, I'll try it. I said, okay. Him and Reggie. Um, he started praying over me. We ended up down in the sanctuary with the music on and he was praying and, you know, anointing my ears and my eyes and my feet. And it was like my mouth just started to move like I couldn't control it. And it's like it lasted forever. And when I came down, I was just tired. So Bishop helped me up. I sat on the bench. He told me, he said, Jessica, he said, be careful. He said, the devil is not happy about this. He said, prepare yourself for an attack. I said, okay. Prior to him telling me this, me and Reggie was into all types of stuff at the church, so we would spend hours and hours and hours every day at the church.
Days and days and days.
Days and days at the church. So it was like, okay, so you know, and I love church. I just love people. You know what I'm saying? Good people helping. So it was awesome. So we would spend all the time at the church. So before Bishop told me about the devil and his attack, I had confided in Bishop and told him about a physical episode that me and my husband had. And I said, Bishop, I don't know about this. He said, just stay vigilant and watch. Said, you call me if you need me. That was that. 4 months. Me and Reggie, we started going into church. I had moved out. Nobody knew. I never missed church. I'm the type of person, you never gonna know my situation. I'm never gonna look like what I go through, and I thank God every day that I don't. So I'm still going to church. Nobody knows what's going on. This particular morning, now after I did the prayer with Bishop, that was on a Saturday. Never forget. It was Easter Sunday. That Sunday was Easter. We went to church. That Monday, the kids went to school. That Tuesday morning, about 7 o'clock, this man pulled up, and he walked to my window, and when I looked at his eyes were like black, like the white part. All this was black. I had never seen nothing like it before. It instantly put like chills all over my body. But I remembered because I asked Bishop when he was anointing my ears. He was talking to me. He said, I'm anointing your ears so you can hear from God. He said, I'm anointing your eyes so you can see the attacks. He said, I'm anointing your feet so you'll know which direction to walk. So instantly when I looked at this man's eyes, it scared me. Like, whoa, what's going on? I never let the window down. I backed out the driveway. He followed me. I came back to the house. He blocked me and I ran in the house. That Sunday, I told you guys we went to church. He didn't go to church. He had my car. So when I went and got my car, he left his gun in my car. So before church, I got his gun out my car and took it in the house. Went on to church. That's how the gun was already in the house. So when I got up and got out the car that morning and ran into the house, and he ran in behind me, and he was just like, he was trying to get me. Like I was running through one of the rooms. He was coming through the other room. It was kids everywhere because I stayed in the house with my cousin. She had 4 kids. I had 2 kids. The kids were screaming. Everyone is scared. He tell me, you say you miss your mama so much. I'm going to send you to meet her. It didn't register. It didn't register. For all of 2-3 minutes, it didn't register. I didn't know what that meant. Like, what does that mean? And he said it a few more times. I grabbed the gun from on top of it was some shells. And while he was charging towards me, I started shooting him. 9 times he was shot. My daughter was right there. She was beside him. My cousin was able to pull my baby out the house. I went to jail that day. They charged me with domestic aggravated assault. Carry a sentence of 25 years.
Mm.
I called my pastor because he said, you only call me when you need me, and I needed them. Before the police took me, Bishop came. Bishop laid hands on me in the back seat. He said, God is going to work this out for you. All I need you to do is keep your heart right. Reggie can attest, I was a hot mess, baby. The Jessica Cross that you guys used to see walking in church, I wasn't that person no more. I didn't I never wanted to be in a position where I had to shoot someone. That could have been worse. It could have been a different situation. But I want to tell you guys, if it's ever a time, baby, that you got to choose between yourself and another person, you better choose you. You choose you. Because if you don't, they got a hole that'll fit you. And Redmond's in the business of making money every day. It's just that simple. If he hit you one time, he is going to get mad enough to hit you a second time. God gave me my warning. Now, I'll show you how God works. The first man I told you guys about, he was the person that picked me up from jail. He said, baby mama, he said, I am so sorry that you had to go through that. He said, and if you had to shoot anybody, it should have been me. You know, I don't know why. And I really stopped trying to figure out the why. But the things that we go through, I know now they are divine, for divine purpose. You know, there is no way that I could still be standing here. Y'all be the charge without a lawyer. God said, I got you. All I need you to do is keep your heart right. That was the hardest part. I went to jail. Everything I had was gone. When I got out of jail, me and my kids didn't have not a sock to put on our feet. But God said, when everybody else forsake you, he shall pick you up. He did that for me. You know what I'm saying? Reggie has been a great friend since the beginning. Oh my God, all through the middle, it was like I didn't have nobody. You know, when I came, I didn't have anyone. I go back to it's just me, my mom, and my dad. You know, when I lost my mom, my dad did something different. It was me. You know, and I had tried a lot of stuff to try to fix here. Nothing works. I tell people all the time, if you're going through something, the drugs, the sex, whatever it is, the partying, the drinking, doesn't work. You do it for years and years and years, but when it all boils down and all those highs come down, baby, you still got those same real life problems.
Mm-hmm. So true.
I did that. I stayed on drugs for 7 years. 7 years. Somebody came, don't even know who the person was. I went to church with my friend. And the guy walked up to me, he said, you done tried everything else. You should try God. I had. He wasn't telling me no lie. I said, okay. I was mad with God. I ain't really want to converse with God. I went back. I had to go back. Because one thing about it, when you let go of God's hand, he right there where you left him at. You the one went over there. He didn't tell you to go over there. And that's what I did. I went over there. But after all the things that I had went through,
Jessica, when you say you went over there, what do you mean?
darkness, you got to stay in the light. You want to stay in the light. You know, people don't really know about the light just because we're so used to being in darkness. I wasn't like that. I was used to the light. Mine was vice versa. I was used to the light, but attracted to the dark. That's why I tell people about dancing with the devil. You better stay in your territory where you're covered and protected. See, because the devil gonna take you over there where he dwells, where he in control, where his people at. I practice keeping my spirit stronger than my flesh. Because if you don't, you're gonna fall every time. You're gonna go dance with the devil every time. Every time you say, come on, you're gonna be saying, okay, I'm on my way. When your flesh is stronger than your spirit. I had to work on a whole lot of things, you guys. Reggie, we had what, 290 days before indiction. Baby, we was counting them 290 days down. I went to church. October. Bishop said the sermon was, the fight is over. And I'm saying, fight is over. At the end of the sermon, he came and said, that was for you. He said, God told me to tell you that your storm is over. Now, you guys, I'm homeless. I'm fighting a case. I got these kids. Don't know what to do. And Bishop say, the storm is over. And I'm saying, nah, Bishop, it's raining hard over here. I didn't know. December the 9th, my dad called. He said, baby, you got some mail over here. I said, okay. I went over there and got it. My dad don't open people mail. He said you go to jail for stuff like that. I went over there and got the mail. And when I open it up, it says, the state of Mississippi versus Jessica Cross. All charges has been dismissed. You know, y'all, women, I've never met a woman that has not been hit. I ask people, because I want to know. I ask men, like, why do you feel like you could put your hands on a woman? See, because men feel that they're superior and we're supposed to listen. It don't go like that. It's called open communication. Tell you guys this. The results of all my domestic violence. You know what I forgot? I forgot I had a little girl that was watching her mama. Mm-hmm. Right now, she'll be 14 October 1st. She suffers from PTSD because of her mom's decisions and situations. We have to be careful the situation as mothers that we put our children in.
Mm-hmm. And it's a learned behavior. It is a learned behavior. That's why it's so important, because a child that grows up and they see domestic violence, they're going to do two things. They're going to either become a victim of domestic violence or they're going to become a perpetrator of domestic violence. But the good thing with your daughter is that just like she learned that behavior, it can be unlearned, and so many resources and agencies that are available to assist in that area now. Your story is loaded with, and really when I look at you, I'm like, you are really stronger than you realize that you were. Your story is just so loaded. And the end result, when you actually had to shoot your husband, that's why it is so important for us to recognize the warning signs before it gets to that particular point. To recognize at the very onset, because when you go on a date with somebody for the first time, they're not going to slap you upside your head. They're not going to slap you, all of that, pinch you, all of those things. They're not going to do that. So we have to begin to teach people what the warning signs are. Little simple, I'm going to say little, but the small warning signs. Yes. And you mentioned some of them. Someone telling you where you can go, where you can't go. You even mentioned when you said that accusing you of cheating, that is a form of abuse. That is a form of emotional abuse, accusing you of cheating with other people. And so that's why it's important for us to realize what is domestic violence. A lot of people don't know what it is. Domestic violence is a pattern. It's a pattern of behavior that a person uses to get power and control over
Of
you.
another person, yeah.
And the pattern of behaviors are just, I mean, from the number one warning sign is jealousy.
It
If you
is.
get involved with someone and they are exemplifying that they are jealous, extreme jealous, that is a warning sign to let you know that something is not right. And
So
that's
I want you to talk about that for a moment, only because people think jealousy is cute.
mm-hmm,
Some people say, "Oh, they do stuff to try to make that." That's not cute.
mm-hmm.
That's a
No,
warning
no.
sign.
Yeah, especially as young ladies. Oh, I want to go to the party tonight, but Reggie, he wants to come to my house. He wants to spend time with me because he just want to be with me. He doesn't want me to, girl. He don't want me to talk to other guys, or he don't want me hanging around other people, honey. It's just all about me. No, that is a warning sign. That is
Mm-hmm.
to let you know that something is not right. Extreme jealous, control, trying to get power. Those are not things that we should take lightly. Um, like I say, for a female, it really, that's why it's important for us to teach our young ladies what. And then when I call myself a queen, I did that on purpose. That was intentional because a lot of times victims of domestic violence or survivors of domestic violence, they don't feel good about themselves. And when we don't feel good about ourselves, we do allow we put up with more than what we should. We allow people to treat us in ways that they should not treat us. And so, again, learning the warning signs, knowing what the definition of domestic violence is, knowing that domestic violence is a learned behavior. And so, in our culture, a lot of times we grow up in homes where there is domestic violence. And it becomes so normalized that when we get our
Mm-hmm.
relationship, if we're not in that type of relationship, it doesn't feel right because why? We're used to being in a home where there is physical abuse or emotional abuse or
Mm-hmm.
physical abuse, and so that's why we have to, remember, watch the signs. Is the
Mm-hmm.
telling you what you can wear, what you can't wear, where you can go? Are they trying to isolate you from your family members, your friends? You even mentioned
Mm-hmm.
spiritual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So things that you experienced, there was spiritual abuse, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and financial abuse. Some taking your car keys to
Mm-hmm.
going to school, prevent you from going to work. All these things
Mm-hmm.
constitutes domestic violence. And if we're not aware, we're thinking, oh, because I'm still doing presentations now. The first thing I ask people is, what is domestic violence? What does that look like? And we already know what most people are saying. What do you think?
Getting hit.
Beat up.
Getting hit, physical abuse.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time it gets to the physical abuse, that person has been in this situation for so long, they
Mm-hmm.
become like a prisoner of a prisoner in war. It's like they can't move. I think I heard I think I heard you say something like, well, your dad said that you will get out when you're ready, and that is very true. A survivor of domestic violence, no matter what we do, they're only going to get out when they are ready. But guess what? The most dangerous time for a victim of domestic violence is when they're trying to get out of that relationship
Yes.
because
Yes.
the power and control is about to be taken from that abuser. So that is the most dangerous time. So as a community, as listeners, we have to know what is it that we should do once we find out a person is a victim of domestic violence. Letting them know about the resources. We have to help them develop safety plans. Because
Mm-hmm.
for a victim, it's just like most times they're very dependent on the person that's doing the abusing. So they feel like I have nowhere to go,
Mm-hmm.
and they feel like I cannot survive without this person. They're
Mm-hmm.
putting money in, like I said, the self-esteem is low, so they feel like this person loved them, and probably the abuser have said nobody else is going to want you, and those things have been embedded in their mind. So they are in a position to feel like they cannot do it without that person. So we have to have resources What are you going to, where you want to go? We have to know that there are shelters available to assist. We have safety plan, as I said, when a person is getting ready to get out of a situation, what do we tell them? And also, let me say, and I got so much,
No, you're
but
fine.
we have to, when a person is in a domestic situation, we can't give up on them. Like I
Right.
said, eventually they are going to, more than likely, they will get it. Sometimes, what statistics shows that it takes a person at least 7 times of trying to get out of a relationship before they actually do it. So now at the same time, we don't want to get caught up and entangled because it can be dangerous when you're with a person that's a victim of domestic violence. But we want to always encourage them, honey, you don't deserve this. You deserve
Mm-hmm.
treated better. I'm here for you, when you decide that you want to get out or whatever. So we can't just give her all with, she keeps going back or whatever. We can expect that to happen. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but, we don't want to put them in a position to say, or even the better to know that, well, you can't go back to your mom or your dad because they're tired of you running back and forth to them. So we don't want to put them in that type of situation. We know that they have a place to go. But
Right.
again, recognizing those signs, those warning signs, is very, very important. And a lot of people think about, you ask people why they abuse and things of that nature. Some people may say, I abused because I was stressed out, I was using drugs and all that. Those are not causes, because if it caused you to be abusive, then when you were at work and you got stressed out or somebody made you angry, you didn't jump on them.
Sure.
You came home and you jumped on me. So
Mm-hmm.
allow people to use drinking, drugs, alcohol, stress, any of those things. Domestic violence is about power and control. Someone trying to
Mm-hmm.
monopolize your life and to get power and control over you. And it is a learned behavior. So I commend you, Jessica, for sharing your story um, with us. And so now, I'm believing that we know that all things work together for our good. So at some point, you will be able to share your testimony to go and help other people. Uh, because you will be able to speak into their lives that like we can't because you have actually been there, you have experienced it. Um, and so, yeah, so that those are key things that I would definitely like to say is that you have to recognize what domestic violence is. You have to know what the warning signs are. You have to be aware of the resources that are available so that you will be able to properly refer the victim. Because I would have, if you had called our office prior to this, prior to all of that, how would we have been able to help you? You know,
Right.
uh, and so that's why it's important for people to know that there are shelters throughout the state of Mississippi. And if something wrong, your story is not rare. Your story is very common. It happens often.
Mm-hmm.
Every 9 seconds, a woman is being battered in the United States. And I have to say that not all abusers are men and not
Mm-hmm.
all victims are females. We have victims who are male as well. And we have to remember that some men, we don't hear about it a lot. Now, I work at Our House Incorporated. I've been there for 23 years, as a matter of fact. So just to say that, so we have had men who have come in and they are victims of domestic violence as well. But oftentimes they are very embarrassed. They are very ashamed. But you have young men that have grown up and his parents, grandparents, told you don't get a woman or whatever. And so they don't, and then they end up being the recipient of the abuse.
So I want you to talk about something. I heard you mention that you have to have, I don't remember the exact term, but I think you said like an escape plan. One of the things with Jessica is I always say, I wonder what could have happened to prevent it from getting to that point. And it may not have been anything, but you, 23 years of experience, can you help some of the listeners how to get out before it gets that bad? I know you said to know the signs, know the warning signs, but like you said, some people are so engulfed, they're so captivated, they're so captured that they can't get out. Can you help some people with like an escape plan? And then I want you to also talk about resources. But first, can you help them with an escape plan?
First of all, if we do not get out of domestic violence relationships early on, it is very, very difficult to get out. It is not just like I'm gonna pack my bags and I'm going to leave. There has been so much fear, threatening. There's been so much mental abuse, emotional, physical, that, like I said, the victim really become paralyzed in a sense. And it's very
Mm-hmm.
difficult for them to move and even to see themselves out of that relationship. And so that's why, I mean, if you don't hear anything else, we have to get out early on. Otherwise, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be very difficult. When a person makes up their mind that they want to get out of a relationship, then call. We have the Mississippi Coalition Against Domestic Violence. We have Our House Incorporated. There are national numbers that you can call. With our particular agency, once you call our agency, we do like an intake where we find out different information to see how we can help you. There are times that we have to relocate, and the shelters in the state of Mississippi normally work together. So someone may need to flee Greenville or whatever area and go to other places. And so shelters are in place to help. Most of them, once you get in a shelter, it's okay to go to a shelter. Once you decide that you want to leave, it is okay. But it's like the shelters are going to try to help you with a recovery plan. Because what has happened is that all of the power and control that you once had has been taken from you. And when you go to a shelter, our goal is to empower you, to give you back that self-esteem that you've lost, to empower you with tools and resources to get you back on track. And so, an escape plan, a safety plan, I would encourage someone. Get documents such as your birth certificate, your children's birth certificates, social security cards, driver's license. Pack a bag, leave it at someone's house.
Mm-hmm.
Just things like that you can do to kind of start preparing yourself to get out so that you will be ready. Um, Maybe getting a code or something that you can use, like Jessica could call and say, well, Reggie, it looks like it's snowing outside. But that's a code that you all have developed to let you know that send the police, I need help now. It's just different things like that. But an escape plan is going to be different for everyone, but it's about preparing to remove yourself out of that situation and knowing that resources are there. And I know that it's a scary thing to have to leave your home, leave your job, and different things of that nature, but you can reestablish, you can rebuild. And so it's important to know that there are resources, there are shelters that are in the state of Mississippi that will be able to help you. And some people, they decide that they don't want to leave. And in those cases, we as advocates, we're there to say, well, even if you decide to stay, there are other resources we can provide. We have a professional counselor on board. We have support groups that you can attend. With COVID-19, we're doing everything virtually now. So we can do, virtual communication with you, to help you walk through whatever steps it needs. When you have to go to court, there's no reason why you should have had to do that by yourself. As advocates, we could have been right there to walk you through that process. We could have gone to the police department with you. We could have gone to the hospital with you. And people don't know that we do all of that. And so one of our goals is to take off any problems or barriers or whatever that the victim has. We want to remove all of that. And so we have things in place to help you. And so I guess that is key for people to know. And I'm sitting here thinking like,
Mm-hmm.
we're in the same town. This young lady going through all this, you didn't have to do it alone. We could have been there to advocate for you. And so those are some of the services that we do provide. Like I said, support group, professional counseling, from a private counselor that you can partake of, and we provide the services. We cover the charge for that. You have the Mississippi Attorney General's office. They have a victim crime compensation packet that victims can complete. Sometimes to assist if they have to be off work when they go to court. If they have to receive counseling, they may be reimbursed for that. They have a program that assists with relocation. If your life is in imminent danger, we can complete that victim compensation application, send it to the Attorney General's office. They do their investigation and what have you, and they very well may be able to assist you to relocate to another place for safety. So there are a lot of services, and so call, reach out to the agencies that's here. And right now, our house, we serve 6 counties: Washington, LaFleur, Sunflower, Bolivar, Holmes, and Humphreys County. So those are the counties that we're in. So if you're watching this video and you are in a domestic situation, or you may know someone that's in a domestic situation, I encourage you to call our 24-hour hotline. It's 662-332-5683, and you can reach out to us and we can walk you through these steps. Like I said, the Mississippi Coalition Against Domestic Violence out of Jackson, they have a legal program. And then we also have the North Mississippi Rural Legal Service. They have a program if someone wants to get, if they're having to do child custody, divorce, you mentioned protection order, restraining order, all of those things. And they have an advocate there that can assist with that. Our district attorney's office, they have a victim advocate there to assist as well, to help a person prepare for court and different things of that nature. So there are a lot of resources that are available for victims and survivors of domestic violence.
And that's really good to know.
Yeah, that is.
I didn't know all of that. I didn't even know all of that about Just App House Incorporated. And I'm sure if you're watching this, and you're not in Mississippi, these same things I'm pretty sure are in your states. You can just Google them, research them. I'm pretty sure that maybe even one in your city, like Jessica didn't know that there was Our House Incorporated in her city. I'm pretty sure those who are watching even in other states, there's probably something available in your state.
Every state normally have a coalition against domestic violence. And if you were to call that coalition, like you say, you can Google call that coalition, then they will connect you with the person or the agency in your particular counties. Because most domestic violence shelters, they have counties, particular counties that they service. But in every state, there is going to be a coalition. And that will probably be the better way to call whatever, like Tennessee State Coalition Against Domestic Violence, or whatever the case may be. Go there and allow them to connect you with the shelter that's in your area.
Okay, great. That is great. And so I think that this has been great. I mean, is there anything that anyone wants to add? Either one of you that you could think of?
No, I just wanted to let the viewers know my name is Jessica Bolden-Cross on Facebook. You guys can send me a friend request. I'm not a tell everybody your business type person, but you guys, I'm telling you, if you need anything, reach out. I will most definitely cover you guys in prayer of protection. You don't know me, but Reggie do. If you call me and you need me to come get you, I'll come get you.
Sure will.
I will. I do believe that, all the things that I've been through in my life, God say, hey, I'm building up a new army and I need you on board. And I'm willing. So once again, you guys reach out to me, inbox me, let me know, whatever it is that you need. If it's in my grasp and I can help you, I can. If you need something, anything, you guys, don't let the enemy take your life. It's not that serious. Like she said, if you don't get out in the beginning, when you see the warning signs, it will be hard. Fear will paralyze you. I've been there. I know. Another thing, don't make hasty decisions. Everything is done decent and in order. You organize, you execute. You do not get up and say, oh, I can't take this no more, I'm leaving. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna
And
work.
glad you
You're
said
never gonna be able to leave when the aggressor is there. If he has a job, you know what time he goes to work. You know what time you need to be up. You know the night before. You need something packed. Like she said, you need some important documents. The battle is already hard, you guys. Don't put your life in danger like that. Plan, organize, execute. Reach out to someone. I know a lot of times when people be going through some things like that, it's really a pride thing and we're really ashamed. But just because we're not what I feel like we're not what we should be to each other. You know, you should be able to call someone and say, hey, Miss Thomas, I'm having this problem, and Miss Thomas don't get off the phone and call Miss whoever or your mama or whoever. I know how that is. So I'm just telling you guys, you have 3 people right here. I don't know Miss Thomas personally, but God is resonating with my spirit with her. You have 3 people right here that if you need anything, I know that these people, they're solid people. They're not like that. So if you need something or you need to reach out, or if you just need someone to talk to and say, hey, this is going on in my life, I'm not sure what I need to do, reach out, man. Just reach out. It's better to be safe than sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I will continue to cover you guys. I cover everyone on the protection that's going through domestic violence anyway. I do that. That's just something that I do. I just feel like that someone had me covered. I'm not sure who it was. I'm not. Could be anybody. But I'm going to make sure I cover someone too. And if you need that or you need me, and like I said, I'll come get you.
domestic violence is real.
It is.
It's nothing to play with. As Miss Jessica said, if you are thinking about getting out, you have to know that you're ready to get out. Because if you keep going back and forth, it's going to get worse and worse. And then we didn't even talk about the cycle of domestic violence. Because when you think about the cycle of domestic violence, it starts off with the abuse, and then the abuse will happen, and then you have what you call a honeymoon phase. And that's where after the abuse has happened, the person is going to do whatever it is they feel like you need. They want to go to give roses or take you out to eat or, just whatever it is, the honeymoon phase. And then it begins to repeat itself all over again. And that's how people end up staying longer than, and victims really, they're hoping that they love the person, and they're hoping that the relationship will work out. But like I said, it's just a cycle. It's gonna, unless that person, the abuser, seeks help, and there is help available for victims now. We have a program. It's called MASH, Men Against Spousal Harm, and it is for perpetrators of domestic violence. It's a mandated program, or you can volunteer. They have to come in 26 or 52 weeks for behavior modification. So because when we first started, well, when I came on at our house in 1998, that was one of the things that our executive director, Dr. Davenport, stated that she wanted to have community wholeness and wellness. And she said, how are we going to do that if no one was going to perpetrate of domestic violence? Because she created a program that works with them as well. That is the only program that we have where there's going to be a fee that's associated with it. All of the other services that we provide are free of charge. But why do we provide or have a fee for that program? It's for accountability. Because we have to let abusers know that you are accountable for your behavior. You need to be accountable for your behavior. So there's a small fee associated with that. Another message that I would leave is that it's not the victim's fault. It's not their fault. So, and there is nothing that a victim can do to stop an abuser from abusing them. You can run the bathwater harder. You can fry the fish perfectly. You can do whatever it is, because it's not about what you're doing. It's about the power and control that person wants to have over you. And so those are things that I would want to leave the viewers with, to know that resources are available to know the warning signs, to know if you are in a domestic situation and you have children, they are learning this behavior. They are learning how to have a relationship. And this is the kind of relationship that they are going to have. We actually had a 16-year-old female that came through the program, and she said that she saw her mother being abused, and she vowed that she would not allow anybody to abuse her in that matter. And she didn't. But guess what? She became the abuser.
Abusive.
And so there's help for the children as well. There are programs available for children. We have programs, several programs that's available at our facility for children who come from homes where there is domestic violence. I'm so glad, Ms. Jessica, that you mentioned confidentiality, because we are bound by confidentiality. You know, there is nothing that our house can do as far as a survivor is concerned that you have to give us permission. If you want us to
Right.
call the police, you have to write and sign off stating that you want us to do this. We cannot just release your information. And we're living in a rural community where everyone knows everyone. So confidentiality, that is one of the biggest things that I harp on.
Yes.
You know, and it's just for so many reasons, because the person does not want their information out, and then also it could further jeopardize the
Person
victim.
life.
Correct. And so confidentiality is extremely important. So if someone discloses to you that they are a victim, it's not to be exposed and shared with other people. You know, the reason they are doing it is to kind of seek and get help from you as to what they should do. So those are some of the things that I would leave. That it's not your fault. When you're ready to get out, know that help is available for you. Even if you're not ready to get out, there are other services that are available that you can partake of as well.
And that is great. And so that is a lot of information. We're even going to put on the screen at the end some phone numbers, some email addresses for if you know someone or if you yourself are a victim. We're going to have that information not only on the screen, but also in the description. If you're watching or listening on one of the podcast platforms, you will have in the description information on how to find help, information about Our House Incorporated and others in the state of Mississippi, and also ways to find other resources in other states, wherever you may be. And so I want to thank you both. Before we came on and started recording, the three of us were on, and we started with prayer. And I don't usually do this, but I want to end the recording with a prayer for those who are watching, whether you're a victim or you're connected to a victim, but mainly for the victims. And so let's say our goodbyes now. Thank you for watching, and thank you both for joining me. And let's just, yes, ma'am.
So you guys, like Reggie said, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. You guys, we do wear purple for survivors, and we do wear black in remembrance of individuals, you guys. So you guys keep your, for sure we can wear black. You know, everybody knows someone, even if we don't know someone personally, there are a lot of people that has lost their lives to domestic violence. Me personally, I will be wearing a black and a big purple heart. You guys link in, do the same, spread the love, let everybody know, hey, choose you.
Right. And that is good. That is important to know. So, like they say in church, that being all, let's pray. So, our Father and our God, we thank you again for this time, this opportunity. We thank you for all of those who are watching, all of those who are listening, however and wherever they're listening or watching. We pray, Father, for those who are in these relationships that are a domestic violence relationship. We pray that you will cover them. I plead the blood over them. I pray a prayer of protection over them. May they lack nothing, even mentally or emotionally. Give them strength, give them courage, give them knowledge, give them wisdom. They have information that's been given here. Let them have the courage to use it. Let them get out safely. May everyone in the situation be safe, from the abuser to the abused to the children and witnesses, but also let justice be served. We thank you for it happening, and we know that you're going to do it because you are a God who can do all things but fail. So we put our trust, and those who are watching put our trust and stand in agreement that you will work miraculously in their lives. So we thank you in advance. Amen.
Amen.